boy in the feed store being like, oh, look at this bag of grain. It's got 9,000 whatever the fuck grams. 9,000 grams of protein in this bag. Is that because it's all made from soy? The answer is yes. It is because of that. And the asterisk that I want to put in the footnotes below that story is that soy, yes, is an excellent source of protein. But soy is an endocrine disruptor, and it will fuck with your liver and make you not produce the hormones that your body needs to keep you rocking and rolling. And you can get protein from other places, and maybe you don't need that much protein if you would just do a liver cleanse and, you know, maybe cleanse like your kidneys, do a parasite cleanse, and then you'll get all that nutrition, and you won't need like 500 grams of protein a day to get your muscles. And soy was originally cultivated in the 1500s by Tibetan monks to help them with their celibacy. And the natural defense mechanism of the soy plant is to attack the reproductive abilities of whatever eats it, therefore lessening the amount of predators it has in following generations. In fact, third generation with a 30% soy-based diet is effectively sterile, and that is from us.gov. So, I've been hearing a lot of people singing the praises of soy lately, and it's driving me nuts, but also I do like the idea of less people. I know most people don't love that idea, but like, you know what? If less people are going to produce, and then we have like 1 million houses, maybe someday I'll have my own house. So I can get behind that. You can keep eating your soy. I'll let it go. But I'm going to do my best to even out my horses, because I don't have that kind of money for vet bills. So while I'm talking trash on soy, I'll let you know that the senior I'm putting in is soy-based. I can't find a senior grain that isn't soy-based. So I do things like give them a ton of chia seed and baking soda, aluminum-free baking soda, to try and keep their detox systems in working order and everything moving along quickly, and protecting their little livers with the fenugreek, which really helps. Okay, so now we've got the grains, and see, this is aluminum-free baking soda. Baking soda is pretty much like a salt, and that will help them remineralize, plus be able to actually absorb some hydration into their cells, because their body is like a little battery, as is ours, and if we don't have salt, then the battery is just not going to work, and that's every cell in your body. So we like the salt. Salt has always been good, and I've always had a lot of salt. And people have always been like, oh, you're going to get high blood pressure? Actually, I have like the lowest blood pressure of anyone you know. Every time I go to the hospital, they're like, because your blood pressure is too low, which makes me pass out, because it's a terrifying thing to say to someone. And I just hate going there in the first place. And they're always like, your blood pressure is so low, your blood sugar's so low that we can't find your veins, and we're going to have to call in a specialist. And I'm like, oh, I've got to go. I can't be here. No. But all that aside, I'm actually super healthy, and every time I ever did any testing in a hospital, it came back inconclusive. So we're done with that. We just use food as medicine and eat really well and detox lots. Okay, check this out. This is delicious, nutritious gold. Chia! I got so much chia seed because we use a lot of it. This will create like a little protective barrier, kind of like a mucus on the gut lining, that will help from the fiber of all that alfalfa that they've been eating, because I have rescue horses. They have fucked up teeth. Some of them have no teeth at all. So being able to digest stuff is hard. So I get the very most delicious, flakiest, leafiest alfalfa, as soft as I can. But as you know, it's still very fibrous, and all those little fibers, if not perfectly chewed, can poke at the stomach lining and cause some issues there. Inflammation of any sort is always going to be a problem. It causes more problems. So what we can do is mitigate with things like chia seed and baking soda, which also lowers inflammation. And I've been reminded right this moment by myself that I need to grab some delicious cinnamon. But first, let's give these patient bait. Atticus, are you abandoning me again? He's lost patience. I have Cookie. I have Cookie. She doesn't trust it because I've been putting ointment all over her body and her chest from these fucking flies. I'm trying to defeat Atticus. Are you high, honey? Come here. Come on, baby. Yes, you. Yeah. I was wondering what you were doing. Okay. Okay. So I need to grab mine. Like a warehouse worth of organic cinnamon. This is from Costco, and it's only like $4 for one of these. And between my 5 horses I'm feeding here, each one of these lasts like a week. So if you only have one horse, this should be like $4 or $5 a month. What an easy way to reduce inflammation through cinnamon. Cinnamon will bind with sugar in the bloodstream and carry it so that it doesn't release and get absorbed by the body, where it does a bunch of inflammatory damage until like way later in the gut when it's not such a big deal. So we love cinnamon. It seriously lowers blood sugar and blood pressure a lot. So if you personally take this or fenugreek, carry snacks because you might pass out. But when you're a horse and you have like high blood sugar because you're freaked out all the time being a prey animal, it's helpful. It keeps them more chill. Okay, we got this, that. The one pharma thing we do here is for Tater. Tater, you have seen his knobby knee. The only thing I could do about it that is holistic, if I had this level of devoted patience and time and closeness to him, is wrap his knee every single day, probably like 2 times a day, because he will tear it off, with castor oil. And possibly that could eat away at all that arthritis around his knee. But that would be like, that's just not something I'm able to do right now. And so what I am doing is giving him an Equiox pill in his little cookie. And he's having that every single day for the rest of his life. And I know that they warn about toxicity, giving long-term Equiox. That's actually because they've never done a long-term study. They've only done studies for like up to 2 weeks. So that's interesting. You know, I did that for Ember as well. And she definitely saw some improvement. I'm not sure how much improvement Tater gets from it, but enough to make it worth it, I think. It's like $300 for 180 days worth. So he gets that, and he still kicks up, he bucks, he runs, he terrorizes Dancer, and he's doing a good job at it. Okay, so I'm going to pack all this stuff up, and then we're going to go over there.